I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Red light tonight on, I don't know what.
I think it's burned out.
It's just burned out?
I think so. Take a note.
Next item on the agenda is,
I'm gonna do some sketching.
does anybody have anything to remove from the consent agenda at this time? We'll talk about the consent agenda later. Fiscal business, Russell?
Have nothing to report, sir. We're working on finishing up the auditor's report, and next meeting we'll have the tax budget for public hearing and review. And with that, that's all I have.
Okay, anybody have any questions for Russ about any of the information he sent us? Okay. Public comments? Moving on to new business. Administration, I have resolution 5165. A resolution authorizing that, that's probably another claim that I don't need to hear about. Atwater, Ohio, what was that? Resolution authorizing township administrator to enter into two facilities lighting agreements for the township owned buildings and both Duke Energy and Dayton Power Light Services.
Yes, the consultant that we work with for our energy selection has presented two agreements with us this morning. Those are the reflections that you see in 65 and 66. The first one is for the township-owned facilities in both service areas. They are offering us a slightly by 0.02 of a cent better rate in aggregation, and it's 4.93 for 3 years. I present that to the board for your consideration and approval.
Okay, so that's a little better rate than aggregation.
Yes.
Just fine. But didn't we sign a contract with them, the aggregators?
Yes, for the aggregation for,
I mean, how long is that for?
oh, that's 3 years.
And that's not running out?
No, no. These are for township-owned facilities.
Oh, township owned.
Correct.
Sorry, I
So
didn't.
the fire stations, the tornado
Gotcha.
sirens,
Okay.
that sort of thing.
Should we go back to our aggregator and point that out? Seems,
They do that on purpose
okay.
to sweeten it just a little bit.
Seems a little hypocritical for us to get a better deal than the rest of our citizens.
We'll take it.
Well, better deal. I think we should contact the aggregator too and say, hey, can you match this? Not very much. Do it for our bill. What do you think?
The contract is with the aggregator through the consultants with Dynegy. They're the ones that offer the 4.93 instead of the 4.95.
So this contract from DP&L is through our aggregator?
Yes, it's for the energy
Okay.
origination.
And I think they partly did that because we have larger volume electrical use than perhaps a residential user would have, perhaps. It's only 200ths of a cent?
200s a month.
200ths of a cent.
But if the board so chooses, we can obviously fall back to the aggregation price.
I'm confused on why we wouldn't go back to them and say, because my understanding was we could discuss it with them if the dynamics changed of the offer, or what was the market value at that moment.
So we're looking to get them to sharpen their pencil on the aggregation price.
If they give it to us, I think they should give it to all of our community. Does that make sense to you guys?
Do that.
You can ask, there's nothing wrong with
Well,
that.
why not ask? Yeah.
They don't say yes or no if you don't ask the question. So,
Sure.
that's my feeling on it.
I'm for that, absolutely. So on 5165 and 5166, can we just table those until, is that all right with you guys, until we can get some answer?
Can we consider 5166, because that's a very, very good rate, and that's for street lighting, and that's assessed to
So it's
the
more-
property owners.
Okay, it's more savings than?
Yes.
Okay, how much, what's it?
That's 3.95. And that's not just township owned, and that's,
Right.
the township has several lighting districts. and we-
They're getting assessments, yes.
All that-
Most lighting districts are assessed to individual property owners. And
That would
those,
be a savings for the.
all of those accounts will apply to 3.95.
That seems fair.
Well, do we want to ask the aggregator about that too? No, he's not going to drop down.
Not that much, I doubt it.
Just for the
Probably
sewer.
delivering that at just slightly over cost.
All right, then looks like we should
Makes sense.
entertain the motion to pass 5166. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yes.
You are tabling 5165.
Yes.
Why don't you go ahead and move that officially, yeah.
Could I have a motion to table 5165?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yay.
Resolution is carried.
And then is there a motion to approve 5166? So moved.
Second.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Okay. Let us know next meeting.
Sure.
Okay.
Well, I'll let you know by email.
Okay. Planning and zoning.
What is the story with our friends at Ryan Road? Do we need to go out there and have a powwow with these guys?
The bank still believes there's value in the property, and it's just holding on to it, but not maintaining it, which makes little sense to us.
Both of those properties?
No, the one in Southern, that's under private ownership, and they're just apparently focusing on the house instead of the grounds, but we'll get them back in order. I'm not sure why an individual would take on a project and only do half of it for both properties. But yeah, everyone is a repeat offender for 5167, unfortunately. That's why they are contained in that resolution. They need their properties mowed in their entirety. We do get a lot of comments on 741 Ryan Road because it's highly trafficked.
Yeah, I would be very irritated if I lived on that road, and that's what I had to look at when I turned in there. It's
Yeah.
awful.
Yeah, we have several individuals who live on Ryan Road that would love to buy the properties from discussions I've had with them, but they're not currently available, so. When and if that occurs, we may see some change, but let's see if we can get them mowed.
Which bank owns 171?
I'd have to look back up, I don't remember off the top of my head.
All right.
Was there a motion to approve 5167 that deals with nuisances of vegetation at these 4 locations?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yay. And we have 5168, also dealing with nuisances on Waynesboro Way, and Iris Trail.
Yeah, these are both owned by the same property owner, they're adjoining parcels in the Cypress Ridge subdivision. There is a ditch line that this gentleman does not want to mow, which is why they are a separate resolution, because it's basically the western boundary of those two properties that abut an adjoining property owner, and he mows to his part of the ditch, but this gentleman does not mow to his part of the drainage ditch.
Of course not.
So that's why they're special to them.
Any questions about 5168? Is there a motion to approve 5168? So moved.
Second.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yay. And 5169, a resolution determining that the 6423 North State Route 48 constitutes a nuisance, ordering the abatement of vegetation, debris removal, junk vehicles, determined, so on and so forth.
Yeah, this one's a trifecta. We have grass as an issue that has developed. We've been working with them since the fall, trying to address some of the debris that's been stored outside, and during that time, a truck has become disabled, so that is the junk vehicle in this request. So we're asking for them to abate that. I did talk with the property owner on Friday. They, again, have assured me there'll be progress this week, but I'd like this to go through so that we have that reassurance. It does have different timelines associated with the cleanup. That's what makes this resolution also unique. Instead of doing 3 different resolutions or tying with some others, we put them in there, but each individual nuisance will be dealt with according to ORC.
Any questions about 5169? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yay. And then another resolution to determine a nuisance for vegetation, refuge, and debris for Mary Ann Drive, resolution 5170.
This is the duplex on Mary Ann that we've been working with them also since the fall. The individuals who live on one side have moved out, they've taken all of their stuff. The individual who still resides has stuff outside that we're having a hard time getting taken care of without this assistance. So it is basically debris. It is storage, outdoor storage outside of an enclosed structure, and it needs to be addressed, and we would assist, if you guys would be able to assist us.
Any questions about 5170? Is there a motion to approve 5170?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Meterspaugh.
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard.
Yay.
Mr. Wade.
Yay. And 5171, a resolution authorizing the administrator to enter into negotiations to procure services for firm to study the extension of the centralized sanitary sewer.
We try to make these as long as possible so that when we search with our future, trying to find a resolution, it's all in there, so my apologies, that's quite wordy. Ultimately, what this is doing, our committee met, last meeting was a creation of the committee's met, we've ranked the firms, so we'll have the township administrator go into negotiations so that we can actually take our top rated firm, or the second, third, or fourth, depending on how negotiations go, to get that study actually started. So there'll be a future resolution coming back with that. But this is the request to have Mr. Clark do that for us.
Okay. So a motion to approve 5170.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Gabbard.
Yay.
Mr. Meterspaugh.
Yay.
Mr. Wade.
Yay. Anything else?
Nothing.
Okay. And moving on to the fire district, we have a recommendation to make conditional offers of probationary employment to the following 6 successful tested candidates as full-time firefighters at the listed hourly rates effective June 24th. So, big plans.
Yeah, so on January 28th, we got permission from the board to do a testing process, on which we did. The plan was to fill the 3 vacancies that we had. In the meantime, we lost to Lieutenant Marinelli and Firefighter Jeffers, both resigned. And then Mark Gershbacher has communicated with me that he intends to retire at the end of the year. So the other one is his succession plan to, by the time he retires, we'll have this person up and trained and ready to go, so.
How long has he been there?
It'll be 25 years. Yeah, December should be his last shift.
What are reasons they go for it? Wasn't fire, wasn't 94?
I want to say 95.
So before they looked for
No, he got full-time right after they built the new station, but not long after. Yeah, it was close. Yeah, they built 94, and he was hired in 95, I believe that's what it was.
Okay. Anybody have any questions or have any of these individuals or to the chair? Hearing no questions, is there a motion to offer to make probationary employment to these 6 individuals?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Meterspaugh.
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard.
Yay.
Mr. Wade.
Yeah. And at the rate, we should put in there at the rates.
Yes, sir, I'll make sure that those rates
And I do-
in a minute.
The 2, 5 and 6 have a different rate than the other, than the rest of them.
They're paramedics.
Okay. Road and Park, anything else, Steve?
Just real quick, we sent 2 members up to Dayton from Task Force 1, Lieutenant Petrie and Lieutenant Knoll, went up there to help with the debris, and then firefighter paramedic Luke Drury's house was hit by the tornado, but everybody's fine, he's just cleaning things up, so just to make you aware of that.
Fortunately, he's up there, okay. Road and Park, we have a recommendation to solicit bids for our annual curb repair program not to exceed the 2019 budgeted figure of $25,000. Scott?
Just want to get the process started. We have a difficult time getting contractors to bid on that. Most of the time, I just get the one from ADC because the rest of them it's not big enough or whatever. They have their reasons. So we want to start it now to try to get us 3 actual bids and see where it goes.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve this potential expenditure?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Gabbard.
Yay.
Mr. Meterspaugh.
Yay.
Mr. Wade.
Yeah. Anything else, Scott?
I got the paving bid in, came in at just under 413, and we had 430 budgeted, and that's with the factory being completely milled, so that came in well under the bid price from the county, which is good.
Good.
And then, one other thing to bring to your guys' attention, to maybe just put a feeler out, is every year the Dayton Disc Golf rents goes over to Hoffman Reserve and does the disc golf course there. And I know that they've been planning or trying to actually get a course to be there year-round, and they've been working on it and trying to get some things together, and they wanted to put together a proposal for the board. Some information that I've got is that it is one of the premier courses around, even though it's open once a year. The tournament sells out well in advance, and they said that with the conjunction of putting one on Hoffman, and I know Tony said it, he had meetings with Mr. Hoffman, who gave his blessing to have something like that on that property. And but they said with the 9 holes at Patricia Allen, they could get with the Eagle Scout that did that, possibly put an additional 9 there to make a family-friendly course, and then with the one that they'd like to, you know, over in Hoffman Reserve, they could put one there and possibly have national held tournaments there to bring in people from all over, because everybody talks about this mythological course at Hoffman Reserve and no one can find, because it's only there once a year, and that's how much the people in the area like it. So they wanted to try to propose something. They said they're even willing to park at Patricia Allen and walk over to it and things to that nature. They might be able to get sponsors to help build it. They're saying all in all, to build the whole 18-hole course over there would probably be under $10,000. So something to put out there. I know they've been wanting to put together a proposal for a while, and I just wanted to put the feelers out to see where you're at before they go through any big lengthy processes of going in and setting it up. And I believe they're even offering to go in once a year and fix anything that's damaged and clear debris and brush and keep the paths clear and around the buckets and stuff like that. So something I know Tony's been working with them for a while and trying to get it speeded up a little bit, because it's been taking a while before they get too far into it, to kind of see if there's any feedback or anything you may have, if it's something you may like to see it done or not done, or how far they should get into it before the
I was fortunate enough to go with Bill and 4 years in a row out there to the ID home and said, son, come up. It's a fun thing. They bring in a lot of nice people. I don't see anything wrong with it. I think it's a good attraction.
As we have stated before, the only challenge we have with that property is logistics, is getting people in and out of it. I think it's great if we can utilize it for something like that, and especially if the reputation precedes it. Just tell them they need to buy all their drinks at B&B and eat at game day when they're done.
Well, I know they have it on they're trying to get it for 5th, 6th, and 7th for this year of July. They're waiting on their insurance paperwork, so just if you guys wanted to swing by and take a look at what they have and what they're doing out there.
I know it's huge. I mean, where we travel for soccer, most of the soccer parks have disc golf as well. I mean, I see it, yeah, and it's kind of it's understated, because they're just, you see these buckets just kind of sporadically throughout the properties, so.
If it's a year-round thing, would there be additional maintenance required through the year?
Just little stuff. If we have a storm, we may go through in gators and have to clear out some trees or something that fall, but you know, the concrete pads hold up for years. There's really not a lot to them. Believe it or not, it's kind of I've walked the one at Sycamore Trails a few times just to look at. I've never seen a piece of trash, a bottle, nothing. Those guys really take care of it themselves. They take a lot of pride in it. There'd be some little things, but nothing that would really set the park back or anything. No, they wouldn't be mowing any of it, really. I mean, nothing that they don't already mow now.
I tell them to
Move forward. Yeah.
Anything else?
Do we need to
No, sir, it's all
resolve
good.
that?
Nothing really authority without being bid anyway, so.
I mean, you can always do a motion, it's fine too, however you want to do it, but you don't need to.
Here they go. Maybe. Okay, as long as we're good, that's what we say.
Sometimes that is the answer.
Yeah. You don't have a tea time, let's move forward.
Police department, have anything other than what's in the consent?
The only thing I have is late Friday afternoon, we got the statistics in on this year's Cincy Magazine rating the burbs. That's the one that does Indiana, Kentucky, and Ohio. And they look at the 50 various cities or villages or whatever, townships, And this time around, we're fourth. Terrace Park, Oxford Township, and Mainville is in front of us. Springboro came in 14th, but we're fourth on this year's statistics as far as safest city. So kudos to the public for behaving and the police officers for catching those that don't. So.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Staff updates? Anything on staff updates?
A couple of things I wanted to chat with the board about. In the most recent Ohio legislature, they took on the spending authority that's permitted to be delegated by trustees to their administrative staff. After considering and consulting with the fiscal officer multiple times on this, I feel like we need to move forward with a proposal to effectively double the spending authority. The maximum that is now permitted by statute is $10,000. I think that's too much. I would like to double what's considered now from my perspective, 25 to 5,000, and then respective department heads to double what they are currently set at. It's not something I would need you to take a motion and vote on today. It's just something that I wanted to discuss and get feedback before we bring it before the board as a formal proposal.
I'd say personally, bring this year's recommendations and we'll take a look at it.
And the department heads are at 15 now, or 2?
Is it two?
15.
15. So that would take them to 3.
3,000.
And Russ estimates how much time savings and,
Well, what we're looking for there is just to facilitate the process so that when guys have equipment that breaks down, they don't have to come before the board
Right.
to get it fixed. It's hard to quantify that, but it's certainly something that we haven't increased this for many years. And the problem is that parts keep going up, and we get to the point where if Scott needs to get a replacement part, it will exceed his authority. So business must move on.
Just bring us something back, whenever you put together what you think, and we'll take a look at it.
One of the items that I laid on the desk today were copies of a facility study. This is a discussion that we've had at the department level for probably over a year now. To be completely contrite, we're faced with, here over this group, around space, particularly with the police department. The bullpen area is crowded. We've gotten the use out of it that we need, but it's time to take a look at our overall facilities need and not just looking at it in a silo. We've got zoning files that are in the mezzanine down at the park. Station 23, you can't even move up in that mezzanine. There's so much stuff stored up there. It's just toiletries and paper towels, that kind of thing. Our women's locker room here is at capacity. That's saying diplomatically. So what I would like to do is to bring forward a formal proposal to the board to approve an architecture firm to take a look at our needs as a whole, as a township storage area up in the water tower, for instance. First of all, it's not a good place, and second of all, it's a handshake deal, where we could be evicted at any time. So, I'd like to be able to bring that forward for the board to consider, a consulting architect to take a look at it and make some recommendations.
It sounds like a good idea. We can take a look at it whenever we decide to do, after we see it, is another thing, but.
It doesn't lock you into anything, it's just making decisions from a perspective of
Haven't
knowledge.
changed, expanded personnel in all different areas, whether it be police and fire and administration over the years, and we haven't changed anything, so it's kind of, we start busting at the seams. Well, I'm in favor of getting the study done to see where we should go forward. You guys want to do that?
I think it makes sense. I mean,
Gotta know what you gotta know.
we've grown a lot in the 25 years since
Yeah.
the 2 main buildings have been built. and plus the maintenance department, I know. I mean, we keep adding mileage, that means we need to keep adding things to do with that mileage.
Personnel and equipment.
Yep.
Okay, is there a motion to direct the township administrator to enter an agreement to do a facility space study?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
The last item that I had in a staff update perspective was that there's an outstanding bill out there for Cross-Brown Todd that I've been back and forth with the mediator. They have put forward what I consider to be an unacceptable request of $10,000. The last formal offer that we made was $3,000, and they rejected that. I would like the authority from the board to offer $5,000 to settle it. And I would hope that you would take a motion and vote on that to allow me to at least offer it. I don't know if they're gonna take it, but we need to settle that invoice. It's been outstanding for some time.
I think if we could get it settled for $5,000, I'd be fine, and get rid of it personally. What do you guys think?
What was their original quotation to us?
The outstanding invoice on face is $14,000 and change,
Yeah, but we gave them direction not to exceed what?
$6,000.
So, is there a motion to direct Matt to offer them $5,000 and get this settled? Why not 6?
I was gonna say, I would think we go to the maximum of what we told them that they could spend.
We've already paid $3,000.
So we offer them another 3.
They rejected that.
Oh. That's not how you explained it.
Sorry.
Huh.
So, then they'll have, if they take the 5,
It would be a
then
total of
Then it'll be 8.
8 of the 14.
That the township would have.
Well, they've already rejected 3. And have we been to mediation?
We are in mediation now.
Okay. So we don't have a resolve of what the mediator has recommended?
No, they haven't asked for a last best.
Brian, your thoughts?
I prefer to give my thoughts not on the public record. I would be happy to talk to you about that outside of, but I'm not gonna express what mine or negotiate in a public session. I'll give you privileged advice if you're asking for it. I appreciate the question.
All right. Well, we probably need to get some advice from our council. So,
Is this something we can do in executive session?
No, but we can do it separately because
Understood.
the law is.
Can we direct him after our separate discussions without a motion?
we could wait another 2 weeks, couldn't we? Is that?
It's been a year.
Yeah, you could always.
Tell them we'll get back to him in the fall.
Let's get another 2 weeks.
Yeah, let's give him another 2 weeks.
Individually talk to council.
Yeah, that'll work.
Thank you. That's all I have for statement.
Okay. Anybody else have anything? Okay. All right, nothing else, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yay.